For this next story, we want to warn you, the facts are gruesome. But as you will see, daring escapes aren't only attempted in the American legal system. As we head over to Russia. This is 18-year-old Leonid Grazer, who's on trial in Moscow, Russia, for the murder of his sister, Aradia Koral. According to the defendant, he was commanded by Satan to kill his 21-year-old sister, who he stabbed multiple times. Today, Grazer's in the Sherbinsky courthouse behind the walls of a glass cage. This practice is rarely seen today outside of Russia to prevent dangerous criminals from attacking or possibly even escaping, which is exactly what Grazer's planning to do. It appears now that Grazer's calmed down, but moments later, he somehow has slipped through the slats at the top of the bulletproof security dock. A gap in the video doesn't reveal how he did it, but if we look again, officers consider opening the box to stop him, but Grazer's way ahead of them. One officer strikes him, but he's not giving up. The female officer runs over and presses a large button on the wall, calling for backup. Grazer's pants are coming off during the escape. The officer has a firm grip on Grazer's leg and is not about to let go. Then another officer arrives. At this point, these Russian officers are not playing around. As the taser comes out, he makes sure Grazer knows what's about to happen. Grazer's finally had enough. After putting his pants back on, Grazer will go on to make a full confession for the murder and said he had no regrets about what he did. We're at the Meigs County Courthouse in Decatur, Tennessee, for a family court case. 33-year-old Rashad Hawkins was just given jail time for failing to pay child support. But before he can be taken into custody, he dips out of the second-floor courtroom, drops by the reception desk, then makes his way to the exit. Since it looks like there's nowhere to run, this deputy follows in leisurely pursuit. But Hawkins hops over the second-floor balcony railing, quickly lowers himself down, then drops by on an unsuspecting potted plant below. The deputy appears to be weighing his options. But following Hawkins down is not one of them. Amazingly, after the second-story drop, both Hawkins and the potted plant bounce back into place as if nothing happened. Then Hawkins, who miraculously never lets go of the paperwork he's holding, simply disappears. Back above, the deputy and others look around in disbelief, and below, a few people peek out to see what the commotion's all about. For the next 20 days, Hawkins was a wanted man on the run. But his vanishing act came to an end more than 200 miles away when an officer responded to a trespassing complaint from neighbors reporting a man spotted in their backyards. According to the police report, Hawkins again ran to avoid capture, but was eventually arrested following an altercation with an officer. In addition to his outstanding warrant in Tennessee, Hawkins was hit with a long list of new charges, including criminal trespassing, resisting arrest, and third-degree assault on a police officer. Hawkins is being held without bail until his next court hearing. Next, we're in Dayton, Ohio, where a camera keeps watch of a female holding area inside the Montgomery County Jail. Most inmates are here awaiting their first court appearance, including Jessica Boomershine. The 42-year-old was charged with multiple violent crimes, including kidnapping, felonious assault, and aggravated robbery after she and another person allegedly assaulted and robbed an elderly man inside his home. At first, it looks like Boomershine might be napping with her head resting against the screen of a video monitor. But seconds later, she appears to be up to something. As she stands on an attached stool, the other inmates barely pay her any attention. But after she slides a chair over and climbs on top of the video monitor, she catches the attention of these two inmates, who are completely confused. Then it appears the inmates realize what's going on. Boomershine is trying to skip her court appearance by escaping through the ceiling. The Mission Impossible style escape gets the inmate in this holding cell very excited, though it's unclear whether she's trying to get the guards' attention or is actually cheering on the jailbreak. Either way, the commotion brings officers into the holding area just in time. Ceiling tiles begin raining down from above. Another security camera pans to the right, catching an even better view of Boomershine hanging from a ceiling vent. And below, an officer's attempt at trying to grab her legs makes the situation even more awkward. Boomershine really doesn't want to go to court today, but ultimately the ceiling gives way. She crashes headfirst into a trash can below. Once on the ground, officers place her in handcuffs before she's checked out by medical personnel. Boomershine sustained only minor injuries from the fall, and though her botched getaway allowed her to skip a court appearance that day, escape and vandalism charges were added to her case for when she eventually appeared before a judge. Next, we go inside the Oklahoma County Courthouse in Oklahoma City. 19-year-old Israel Pointer's in court for a hearing after he failed to appear 3 days earlier for charges of robbery with a firearm and possession of a firearm. The judge revokes his bond, but before he can be taken into custody, makes a break for it. As Pointer bursts through the courtroom door, he slips the grip of one deputy, then blows past another. Just down the hall, these two deputies are unaware that their shift is about to start with a bang. Moments later, they run into the fleeing defendant in a narrow hallway. But once again, he shakes loose. It looks like Pointer might have a shot at freedom. That is, until he makes a wrong turn into this hallway. And this man, the county's lead district attorney, David Prater. Typically, criminals try to avoid the DA, but today, one is about to run right to him. When Prater sees what's headed his way, he doesn't look for a nearby deputy. Instead, he unbuttons his suit jacket and jumps into action. Instead of going for a full-out tackle, the attorney latches onto Pointer's arm and doesn't let go. Prater hopes to contain him with the arm grab, as the other attorneys help bring him down. For District Attorney David Prater, it's all in a day's work. Turns out this is the fourth time he stopped a fleeing defendant in the courthouse. Israel Pointer was taken into custody and will later plead guilty to resisting arrest and was sentenced to 6 months in county jail. For the original charges of robbery with a firearm and possession of a firearm, he also pled guilty and was sentenced to an additional 3 years in prison. We're at the Oklahoma County Courthouse in Oklahoma City. The man seen here in the brown jacket about to enter the courtroom is David Knight. The 30-year-old's in court today for a hearing regarding drug possession charges, but he's unaware there's also an outstanding warrant for his arrest. So before deputies can take him into custody, Knight slips out of the courtroom. His exit is perfectly timed, hitting the elevator just as the doors are opening. On the ground floor, Knight steps out of the elevator, gets his bearings, then makes a break for it. It looks like he might slip out under the radar. But now comes the toughest part, getting past the last security checkpoint and this deputy. With the officer on his heels, Knight bursts through the exit and out onto the street. It's a flat-out foot race for freedom. And the winner is the deputy, who, just out of the camera's view, catches Knight and brings him down with a tackle in front of some curious bystanders. He was taken into custody and charged with obstructing an officer. He'd later plead guilty and was given a 1-year suspended sentence, meaning jail time is deferred as long as he abides by the conditions of his probation. Thanks for being a fan of CourtCam. Subscribe to A&E to never miss a new video and catch full episodes on aetv.com.